I have these guests on my show that are everywhere from a psychic to a medium to an intuitive, an empath, people that can do hypnotism or bring you to past life regressions. But I'll tell you the one thing that I always kind of like never really got into that I think maybe I want to explore a little bit is kind of the whole tarot card thing. I don't totally understand. I also don't understand. I don't get like I know what my sign is. I'm an Aries. I know what being an Aries means because I've read my horoscope and all that. But like when they say like, oh, you're in the second moon of Jupiter or something, I don't have any idea what any of that means. Like, or people say your rising sign is this because you're this age and you were born in this year and this month and on this day and this time. Like, I don't understand really any of that at all. Not that this has anything to do with Kelly and my episode with her, but as she was talking about tarot cards and stuff, like I've actually got tarot cards as a gift and I bought tarot cards once. We were away on a vacation once and we kind of brought them back to our Airbnb and I was like trying to like read tarot cards. I don't know how well I did with it because I only did it once, but I think tarot cards are interesting. I have some belief in them. I just because I believe in energy and spirituality and all that. So I maybe that's something I need to do. Just look into tarot cards and see what I think is really real about them or not, and just learn more about them. The whole thing about my sign and I'm this new rising sign or whatever. Like I don't know. I feel like that's just so much to understand. I've had a numerologist on my show named Susan Owens. She did my numerology, and that I thought was interesting. Even though I'm horrible with numbers and horrible with math, so that I don't think I could ever do. But I enjoyed her telling me about myself and about what she kind of seen coming from me. She's been pretty accurate, actually. So I'll have to get Susan on text later today just to check in to see how she's doing. But the going back to Kelly's story, she's gone on her own journey of kind of healing and transformation and connection to her past. And in our conversation, we do dive into her process and her views on spirituality, beyond religion and kind of what she thinks about soulmates and embracing reinvention after the age of 40. So I thought she was really inspiring. I really liked her as a person. And some guests that come on my show, I'm like, if they weren't a guest to my show, I'd want to be their friend. And she's like one of those people where I'm like, wow, she would be an awesome person just to kind of talk to and have a friend with or go to dinner with or go to brunch with or something. So, but I hope you enjoyed my interview with Kelly as much as I did. She made me think. She makes me just think about tarot cards. She makes me think about how you can reinvent yourself at any age. And she was a great guest. So enjoy the show. Thanks for joining the Everything and Anything and a Bit Gay podcast. Today, I am thrilled to welcome Kelly O'Hearn. She is a groundbreaking author, intuitive storyteller, and may be just the first person to ever channel an entire novel through tarot cards. So welcome to my show.
Thank you, Zach. I'm happy to be here.
So tell me how you became a storyteller in this way. Like what started it?
Well, my primary career, being an author, isn't even what I really do for a living. I'm a tarot card reader, and I'm an intuitive channeler with a global business. And when we were all in lockdown in 2020, I decided to use my tarot cards to have a line of inquiry into my most recent past lives.
Okay.
Where was I in history? What was I doing? And what came about was just these amazing, just breathtaking stories at all different, really incredible times in human history. And I knew that the story would be a really entertaining fictional novel, hence how Arcanum was born and the series.
And so whenever you were doing this, as you say it's a fictional series, but it's from what you kind of pulled out of your own past lives. Is that correct?
Correct. So the story of the heroine, who's the main character, is channeled and created through the lens of my soul and what I was shown and given in the intuitive channelings. But I have fictionalized it just to move it away from my personal life, just because I'm a private person, and B, protective of those that I love who, may not want to be written about, and B, just to make it a bit more of an appealing story, more relatable. I mean, I'm 58, so I think a 40-year-old heroine is a little bit more relatable than a woman in her late 50s.
How did you get interested in channeling and tarot? Like, how did that start, or at what age?
Yeah, so that came out of a really hard chapter in my life. Back, when was this? It was like 2012, I went through a health crisis. And as I came out of that crisis, you change in something like that. Mm-hmm. And as I was coming out of that crisis, a lot of things happened, and I realized that I could no longer stay in my marriage. And that's a really scary realization, because that's such a foundational sense of security and strength and consistency in our life. So during that time of that fracture and learning how to live with it, I found tarot. And I didn't find it for any purpose except just to distract me from my reality. Well, what grew was this amazing relationship with this language, because tarot is a language. And I eventually decided to start a business, and it's just skyrocketed.
And did it make you, did you grow up religious at all?
I grew up as a Catholic, and it was fairly strict. I mean, I went to Catholic school, I was educated by nuns, the whole thing.
And how does that change your view on religion after you discovered this?
It's interesting. I have kind of gone through a lot of different cycles around organized religion in my journey with tarot. At first, I kind of really went far away from organized religion, but to be honest, I held a lot of judgment about it. I had a little anger and some unresolved emotions around my upbringing and organized religion in general. Now I sit in a nice, comfortable place for me that organized religion serves such a great purpose for so many people, because I'm a huge advocate of faith. Not necessarily faith in a deity where you may give your power away, but faith in the fabric of life, of existence, to really act on your behalf, a benevolent field of love that is here and accessible to us at all times. Religion offers that, even though it shrouds it in characters and personalities.
And okay, so I'll just tell you a little bit about myself, where when I started this podcast, will be 2 years at the end of this year, and I decided I was doing things, it's called Everything and Anything, because I wanted to talk about anything that I wanted to, and I didn't want to have a niche of my podcast. And one of the things I was really interested in was mediumship. And I wanted to take a class in it. So I took a class. I found this guy who's amazing. His name is Michael Mayo. And I took this class, and I was going to do it for 6 weeks. And then I was just going to talk about it on my podcast. I wasn't doing it to say it wasn't real, but I was just going to just talk about my experience. But then whenever I actually connected with people and I was able to do it, I'm like, whoa. And I ended up doing the class for a year.
Amazing.
And then I took a psychism class with him. Unfortunately, the time of it was it was too late for me on the East Coast, because it was being done on the West Coast and Pacific time. And I did it for like 6 weeks. And I'm still interested, but it made me change my whole way of thinking about what happens when we die, or what happened, and I'm not religious at all. I grew up, my grandfather was Church of God, Southern Baptist, super religious. I had to do that whole thing until I was 8 years old. And then when I was 8 and we moved from Illinois to Florida, my dad basically said, if you want to go to church, you can. And if you don't, you don't have to. And nice. I chose not to, because I questioned it all. I'd ask my mom, how was the dinosaurs there with Adam and Eve? That doesn't make sense. Can you explain it? And I just questioned the whole religion thing. And I've questioned it probably my whole life, not believing in it. And that being said, after taking this mediumship class, like I said, my whole thought about what happens to us after we die is completely different. Because I thought at one point that you literally you go on the ground and that's it, you're dead, or you're cremated and then nothing else happens. And now I know that's not true. And I did a past life regression hypnotism also with someone, and she took me back to at least 2 different lives. Yeah. And I remember them now as if it really like she's brought those memories forward. And then now I realize, okay, that was true. And it's something I never would have thought that would have been who I am or who I was. And so again, that makes me think different because of the whole reincarnation thing, or you've lived different lives. So tell me about, this is the longest question I've ever asked.
No, this is like my favorite question ever.
Like, tell me about what your thoughts are about and how it's changed from growing up Catholic to how you feel now about religion and what happens when you die.
Okay. I love this question. First of all, I want to point to something that I really want to make sure your audience knows, that you and I can really stand here and tell people this with certainty. There is nothing that you have mentioned or that I have mentioned in terms of intuitive gifts, mediumship, psychic awareness, whatever, that's just language.
Yeah.
We all, every one of us, just by the very nature of being alive, have the capacity to tap into our intuitive, energetic body and have better awareness, better insight into energies that are not visible by the naked eye.
Yeah.
So that is just a truth. It's been proven. It's neither need no judgment or anything toward it. But I love that you allowed yourself the dignity of that awareness and that experience just to broaden who you are as a man, right? As a person. So to go back to your question, I have 100% certainty. Now, this is my certainty that we are energetic beings having a human experience. Mm-hmm. Now, what that means is that the truth of who we really are is so much bigger than this meat suit that we are encapsulated in and experiencing this third dimension. Now, the third dimension is this dimension we live in where our senses, our 5 senses, engage us in life and allow us the experience of life through our mental body primarily, through this physical vessel, and then through our emotional body. But then the fourth part of self is always kind of left out, drifting and a bit ignored. And that's what most people call the spiritual self, the soul. I call it our energetic body because at the end of the day, it's the pure resonance vibration, both the particle and the wave, that is the truth of us. So man, in a quest, I think, for organization, power, and control, has formulated religion. Is the name that was given to it. It's just a word. And that was in order to be of service. I do feel that over the course of human history, there have been a myriad of breathtaking prophets, seers, all these things that really have had a profound spiritual experience and have tried to share that from a very honest place with humanity. Buddha, Jesus, Muhammad, like all of these prophets, where then men under them have tried to kind of use their story, use their wisdom, use their enlightenment in order to create a movement. That movement, in many cases, grew into a religion that then basically became a business. Let's just be honest. A lot of the religions in the world, I'm not saying all of them, but they are a business.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, they are also about helping people tap into that spiritual self, that connection to what a lot of people have a named deity for, be it God, Allah, whatever. For me, in this experience of this journey, and I'd be so curious to hear what has happened to you, how you went from believing that, like basically an atheist belief where this is all there is and when you die, that's it, it's over, to having a higher sense of life beyond human death. For me, the truth of the matter is that we are all a part of this vast experience of existence, which is a field of energy, a field of really unconditional love. For me, the God source is the highest vibration of love. And as a result of which, I have complete knowing that when I die, while it will be sad for those who are left behind that love me, I'm going home.
Yeah.
I am returning to the truest form of myself with gratitude and love for the experience that I've had, regardless of the hardships that I've experienced and the heartbreak. So I welcome death. I'm not the least bit afraid. Now, I don't want pain.
Yeah. I'm with you.
Clear.
Yes.
I don't want to suffer, but if that's my path, then that's my path. But I know it's a return to the truest me.
Yeah.
Which is eternal, infinite, magnificent, powerful, and free.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we are on the same page, I'll just say.
Right? And isn't it a good feeling?
Yeah, it is. And you asked me, like, when did I think whenever my father died in 2008, and I literally got physical signs from him.
Yeah.
That is whenever I realized, oh, he's here. And I don't mean like he was a ghost that came into my bedroom or anything, but there was just there was a couple of events that happened that there was no doubt it was him. Like, it had to be.
Yeah.
And it still happens. Things happen today. They happened the last couple of weeks. There's a thing with lights with my father. He was an electrician. So there's things so I have a third floor where my work office is and my podcast studio is here. And so every morning I come upstairs, and it's the whole third floor. It's like a big loft up here. And I have my desk, and there's a couple of couches, and then there's all these lights that are up here. And I always turn off all the lights every night whenever I'm done, and I go downstairs. And for the past like 2 weeks or whatever, every time I'd come up, the lights would be turned on, and there was nobody else to turn them on. So I'm like, what is this? Then there was a sign. There was nothing major health, but there's a little health thing that I had to deal with. And that was why my dad wanted me to know he was there. And I knew that was what it was.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. So I think whenever that's whenever I did it. But I didn't really believe in kind of the reincarnation piece, if that's what you would call it, until I took this mediumship class. And then I had this woman named Major Arcana who did a hypnosis with me and took me to my past life regression and took me and told me who I was. And that's when I realized, okay, then we're all coming back, and it's all energy. We're all just energy and stuff. And we're all connected and stuff. And I just wish more people would kind of see the world that way.
Yeah. And for those members of your audience that are listening that are still kind of skeptic, and I love skepticism. Don't get me wrong. I have a skeptic brain. I just asked for some open curiosity about things that you may carry skepticism about. But I don't know if you've read, Zach. There are two books that are works of science written by doctors about past life regression. One is Many Lives, Many Masters. That's kind of the definitive work on a very renowned psychiatrist from Miami, where you grew up, and his working with this one particular client who suffered greatly from mental health paralysis, symptoms. And it was through hypnotizing her back into her past lives that she was able to heal her present life. So that's a really wonderful read for those people that may still have doubts. And I'm not trying to change anybody's mind. It's just to broaden their mind into possibility. The other one is a book, which I think you would really enjoy. It's called Journey of Souls. And that's where, again, another doctor took his patients not to the past life, but to the time between lives when they were deceased from human existence, but they were tapped fully in to their soul in the spirit realm. And the consistency of the telling of what that experience is, and he's done it for hundreds of patients, is really fascinating.
Yeah. I'll definitely get both of those books, because that's exactly what I would.
Journey of Souls, you will love.
Yeah. I mean, that's what and I'm just like you, where you said you're not scared of death, and I'm not either. I don't want to suffer either. I don't want pain and all that stuff. And I feel bad, like if I die before my mom does, how sad she'll be and stuff. Like I think about those things, but I'm not scared of it anymore.
No, me neither. I mean, believe me, don't get me wrong. I intend on living a very long life.
Same.
And dying as a very old woman.
Yeah.
But I'm not afraid of that moment.
What kind of encourages you, like, with your curiosity of this? Like, what made you so curious about just all these subjects and really wanting to explore them more?
Well, it's so funny because it literally was like a Hansel and Gretel trail for me of breadcrumbs that I just trusted and kept going to the next clue.
Yeah.
I had a really scary health crisis. And when your physical vessel is in doubt of its, like, am I even going to live? You really reassess a lot of things about just yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And as you begin to trust your physical body again, you change emotionally and mentally, and it's very much energetically. So my journey didn't start out of curiosity. My journey started out of survival.
Oh, much different.
It's a very different source, but it does lead me to the same place as some people that may start from a place of curiosity. So what happened was, as I got stronger physically, I had this whole new relationship with myself as a powerful being, a being that could self-heal, because Western medicine couldn't help me. So I had to use the power of the body itself to heal, which opened me up to this profound mystery of what's really going on here. Like, how did my body with its eternal wisdom know what to do when I gave it the perfect environment to do it? So the tarot came into my life at such an opportune time, because the tarot is a language, and it's a language of the human experience. And, in the tarot, there are 4 suits, which align with the 4 parts of what it is to be human: the physical, the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual. So by learning the language of the tarot, it really helped me to figure out and to satisfy this curiosity of, like, what's going on here?
Mm-hmm.
Because, and it served and like spoon-fed that skeptic brain, because you cannot deny language. If someone writes in a line that says, "I am smart," okay, you can prove it to me, but that's what you believe. And I know exactly what that means, right? There's no doubt in the meaning. Well, that's the benefit of the tarot. There's no doubt in the language of the cards. Each card has a very specific vocabulary meaning. So all of that just led me on this path, bit by bit by bit, to expanding and trusting life again, which then opened me up to the broader possibility of what's really going on here. What exactly is life? What is this third dimension? What is the purpose of this experience as Kelly O'Hearn? How does it serve in the greater timeline of my eternal existence? All of those things came into question. And so far, I'm finding satisfactory answers for myself for all of it.
And your health is great now?
Oh my God, I'm so healthy. It's breathtaking.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Tell me how you channel your past lives through tarot.
So in the tarot, it's divided into 2 sections of the deck. The primary section of the deck are the 4 suits that I referred to. But there are 22 cards that are the beginning part of the deck. It's the 0 card through card number 21, which we call Major Arcana, which is a fancy name for just high spiritual characteristics and characters, personalities of this thing called the human journey.
Okay.
So what I decided to do is I decided to take those 22 cards and use them to illuminate to me, to guide me through what these past lives were. And what came out were past lives in ancient Egypt, Renaissance France, the Vatican during the late 1400s, early 1500s, Scandinavia in the 1300s, just all throughout human history. And what I did is I kept going back over and over and over using the full deck in order to get more detail about the lifetimes. And I've recorded it all. It's all recorded on Zoom. So I have over 40 hours of me channeling these stories into being. And when I was done with it all, I was like, this would make a kick-ass series.
Yeah.
Because regardless of whether it's true or not, if you don't want to believe it's true, that's fine. I totally get it. But it's just a great story.
Yeah. Was there any of your past lives surprise you?
Yes. So I too did a past life regression back in 2017. And in that experience, this beautiful woman told me that I was in a karmic cycle, including in this life, where I am a woman every time, very powerful woman in the company of very powerful men, but always as like the mystic, the muse, or the mistress, and never the wife. Which I found really interesting, because that's not the case in the, I had a very long-term marriage, which was wonderful until it wasn't. And, so it's not really the case necessarily in this life, but I see why. So I wanted to see, okay, who were these powerful men that I was supposedly, a mistress to and muse to? And why wasn't I good enough to be the wife? Like, God damn it. What the hell? So that was the premise with which I went into channel. And, so there was a kind of purposeful guiding of a story. And then what came out were just these amazing, amazing experiences and lives that really resonated in my body. I mean, when I was channeling this, I would cry. Like I would feel the emotions. They have proven how past lives and the energy of our eternal existence lives in the body. That's why we feel things somatically in the body sometimes.
Yeah.
When we meet someone and it's such a powerful moment, like, oh my God, why do I feel like I've known you? When you feel that in your body, that's a past life recognition.
What about soulmates? Tell me about that.
My novel series is ultimately a love story about soulmates finally reconnecting. I love soulmates. And the one thing that I think is a big misconception is that a soulmate is a lover, that a soulmate is an ultimate lifetime committed partner. Mm-hmm. I'm afraid that's not the case. A soulmate is an individual who carries the resonance of a soul that is very familiar to us, but is here to serve for our greatest lesson. So a soulmate can come in for a very brief period of time, but make a profound impact on us. Mm-hmm. A soulmate can be a villain in our life, someone who is such a pain in our ass, but causes great change within us, great ability to really align and embrace ourselves for who we really are, so we won't tolerate that type of treatment. A soulmate can take many forms, but they are always in greatest service to our soul's progression.
And do you think that whenever we come back, that we have the same people each time?
I wouldn't say, I can't exactly speak for the truth of it, but I think there are always some that we tend to come back with. Mm-hmm. May not be every life, but there are always some that we have shared lives with before, 100%. Yeah. But I don't think it's the same ones over and over and over. I think it depends on where, let's just take my lifetime. I'm one of 3 girls in the birth family, and then I have 2 children. So, those are 6 people that I have spent the real nucleus of my life with. I have no doubt that I have spent past lives with all of them, but I can't say every past life has been with all of them.
Yeah, and whenever I did my past life regression, my husband was my son in one of my lives.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, okay, and that whole past life was so opposite of who I am today. I was a farmer in Kansas in like the 1940s with a wife and 2 kids, and we even looked. I knew how I died, how my wife died. It was just the whole thing. It was just
so cool.
It was so amazing. Let's talk about inspiring women over 40. Tell me about that.
Well, it's so interesting. I have a real problem with the phrase midlife crisis.
Okay.
Because for me, it's a period of reinvention. Now, I'm not saying it doesn't come with pain points, but if you embrace them as more of a positive opportunity for the self rather than a crumbling and some sort of like ending, you can really, really find your way through that time with such grace and such dignity, but such just possibility and expansion on the other side of it. So women especially cling and claw and fight so much to stay young. And don't get me wrong, I like to look good. I take care of myself. I put effort into that, right? That's a choice that I enjoy for me.
Yeah.
Because I like to feel good. I mean, my health, my vitality, my wellness is a huge thing for me, obviously, especially given a health crisis. But what happens is in this quest for the fountain of youth, you forget about the real power of aging, especially as a woman. As women age, we come into that crone archetype, that medicine woman, that wise person in the tribe that has always been looked to with such respect and authority. Mm-hmm. We really rise into our power. Men, because of evolution and the necessity to spread your seed in order for humanity not to die off, you guys peak young physically. Mm-hmm. We all peak young physically. We got hormones, we got collagen, we got the whole thing. But energetically, you also peak younger, right? And that's very evolutionarily important. Like there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
And then as men age, their testosterone drops, all these things. And without, mindful intention, men can become just more sedentary and, less engaged. Women, on the other hand, our estrogen may drop, but our testosterone goes up.
Yeah.
So we become very motivated and things like that. So there is this great opportunity after midlife. Some people it's 40, some people maybe 45, some people maybe late 40s. But after that menopause chapter, where I promise you, ladies, it just gets better.
Okay.
I mean, I am turning 59 and I haven't even peaked yet.
Yeah. All of my friends are going through menopause now.
Yeah.
And some of them are later into it than the others. But some of them are just like, is this ever going to end? And life is just not great right now. But that's some of the ones, but then they're hearing from their other friends, well, after you kind of get through it, you're much better. So don't worry about it. It's coming.
Oh, it's incredible.
Is there a point in your life where you just like, I don't really give a shit what people think? Like that hit you? Because that hit me when I turned 50, it hit me. And then the last 6 months, I really don't give a shit what people think. When did that happen with you?
Probably right after my divorce or during my divorce. So I was 49, turning 50. So about the same time for you.
Yeah.
But when you were going through a divorce in a family where you're raised Catholic, that there's never been a divorce before.
Yeah.
All of these things. And you realize the judgment of others absolutely has no bearing on this one life that I get to live. And it was actually my father that taught me that the best, which I am so grateful to him for. But yeah, it started then, like the seed of it burst open. And then since then, I mean, look, I became a tarot reader. You can only imagine, for those of you, I mean, no one knows, but I was raised in New York City by financiers, Wall Street, business, the whole thing. You don't become a tarot reader in my family, in my background. So the fear of judgment, the fear of ridicule was something that I had to deal with. And through the strengthening of really facing that and embracing what was right for me, asking people to have acceptance of that. And if they didn't, oh well, that has really made it so that, I can go through this life now at this point without any care about what people think.
And did you ever think that you would be a tarot reader and an author and doing all this amazing stuff? Like, did you ever think that ever?
No, that's my point. It's like, I did not become a tarot card reader. I started my business at 51 years old. I published my first novel at 57.
Yeah. That's amazing.
It's never too late to just start. You know, like you have the capacity to do things, become things, try things until we take our last breath.
Like, don't you feel like, do you ever stop though? And I think maybe you do more than other people, maybe just because you're so in tune to yourself. But do you ever stop and really think of who you're inspiring all these people? Do you ever give yourself credit for all the inspiration that you're pushing out there into the world? And if you don't, you should, because you've got to think about, like you said, you published your first book at 57. That's amazing. I mean, think of how inspirational that is, because some women at 57 are thinking, oh, my life is going to be over soon. I'm retiring and I'm going to be done with it. And I'm just going to like sit home and do nothing in 5 or 6, 10 years or whatever. And you seem the complete opposite, where you're like, I'm just getting started and I want to inspire people. And that's what you're doing. Do you ever kind of think that to yourself?
That's a hard one for me. I was raised to be kind of act small, but just like don't be that person that, is braggadocious and things like that. So, but yes, to answer your question, yes, I now have found a real acceptance of where I can influence, inspire, and things like that. And it was really my children that gave me that gift. I have 2 sons, and they looked at me one day. I'd started my tarot business. I was just working on the first novel. And, I had divorced their dad, and, all that dust had settled and everybody was in a really good place, all of us. And they looked at me and they were like, Mom, we had no idea you could be this type of person.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And that landed with me so deeply, Zach. Like, these children that I love more than anybody else on the planet.
Yeah.
And to receive that from them really I was like, wow, I can be an inspiration. That is allowed. And I can allow myself to be that and use that especially in my tarot work, because in that work, I work one-on-one with people and none of my clients come to me when life is going well.
Yeah.
So it is a great joy to mentor them out of their restriction back into their freedom in a way where I receive the gratitude from them.
Can you tell me one story of somebody that you've helped that is just like, it's unbelievable how you changed their life around?
Yeah. And if I get a little weepy, you'll have to bear with me because this was a really powerful channel. A young woman came to me. I don't really advertise my tarot work. You only know about me if you know someone that knows about me. So it's all through word of mouth. So a young woman came to me. She was from Atlanta and she was a nurse. And she'd been in a very abusive relationship, physically abusive relationship, but didn't have the bandwidth to leave, as is very common for those people who have suffered abuse. So long story short, they got pregnant. And she was so happy because she thought for sure this baby would make her lover feel like, oh my God, we've created life. It's going to be okay. I'll change, blah, blah, blah. Well, unfortunately, it was the exact opposite response. And he beat the shit out of her and she lost the baby.
Oh.
Yeah, he beat her literally to the point where the baby aborted itself. So she could never heal. She was emotionally just a train wreck, we can't even imagine what that would feel like. So she came to me and it was so amazing, Zach, because we're sitting there and I'm helping her break it down. Because, I channel your energy. I don't read your mind. It's a very unique distinction, but it's an important distinction. And suddenly the soul of the baby came to me. And I so understood why that had to happen for this woman. And I literally said to her, honey, I know this is hard to believe. Believe me, I'm having a hard time believing it, but your baby is here and it wants you to know that it lived a full life in your abdomen, in your womb. And that life was purely the gift of giving you the courage to leave that abusive relationship.
Oh, wow.
That was the purpose of that soul's life. And it did that for you. That's unconditional.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Oh my God. I'm still covered in goosebumps. I still feel the emotion of it all. And sure enough, from that point forward, she was free from her pain. It was amazing.
Wow. That is incredible.
Yeah.
Did you write it? Is that something you're going to write about?
No, that's not part of my book.
No, but
will
you write
another book about my channelings with my clients?
I think you should. That's an amazing story just on its own, just that one. I feel like you could.
Yeah, it really gives you such realization to understand that despite our emotional sadness over the loss of love, or the potential for love, obviously in the case of a new pregnancy, of course we're going to have grief. That's a healthy, normal human emotion, but there's always purpose.
Yeah. Why don't you let people reach out to you more to do tarot card reading just because you think you'd be overwhelmed by it?
Yeah, I'm so busy as it is. I welcome people to reach out to me and hopefully we can leave my information for your audience if someone feels inspired to do so. But I am so busy. I'm booked out like 3 weeks in advance. I have clients on every continent except Antarctica. I'm so grateful for this, how my work has just expanded.
Yeah.
That I haven't had to market using the traditional method.
That's amazing. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you.
So your book is available on Amazon, and I see that you are on Instagram. Is that the best way for people to kind of reach out to you if they wanted to?
Yeah, on Instagram, I'm under Kelly O'Hearn Author.
Yep.
And feel free to direct message me there. Absolutely. That's a great way to do it. I have a website called arcanumtheseries.com, and you can direct access my email through that.
Great. And I will put the website, the link to Kelly's book on Amazon also in the description of this video or podcast, whatever you're listening to or however you're hearing this, and Instagram, website, link to the book. I'll put it all on there so if people want to get in touch with you, that they can.
I welcome anyone to reach out. That would be great. And thank you very much.
Kelly, you were amazing. Like I said, you're such a great inspiration to people, and I loved our conversation, and you were just an amazing guest. So thank you so much for being on.
Oh, I so enjoyed this, Zach. Thank you for having me.
Everybody, please be sure to listen. Go buy Kelly's book. I'm buying it as soon as we hang up on this podcast. And thanks so much for listening, and be sure to subscribe. Thanks, Kelly.
Thank you.